What's good? What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the show, Recap with Mo, where we're getting ready to get into a new episode of Tyler Perry's The Oval, Season 5, Episode number 1, titled Turning Tables. But before we get into this thing, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shit that's going down, alright? So let's go ahead and get into the synopsis first, and then we'll get into the actual recap. So the synopsis for this episode states that Victoria devises an alternative strategy after Hunter finds himself in a dangerous predicament. Bobby finds himself taking the brunt of Priscilla's hatred towards Sam. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this thing. Alright, y'all, so we opened this episode off exactly where we left off previously in the last season, with Victoria and Simone going at it. They done fell over the rail and every damn thing. They out here on the floor and they going at it. Simone is calling for help. Victoria's still going in that ass, and the guys finally show. They finally show up, right? So when they get there, she's still smacking Simone, and she's actually smacking some of the men that's there as well. So Victoria's like, look, I need you to go ahead and take her down to the presidential bunker, and I will deal with her later. Look, Agent Kane, I think that's who she was talking to at the time. And he was like, look, I just don't feel right about doing that. She was like, what did I say? Like, who in the hell are you talking to? And I think it dawned on him at that time, after she smacked him a few times, that he said, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. I must have. So they go ahead and take Simone down where they've been instructed to take her, right? So anyhow, Victoria goes to tell Hunter what just went down. So when she walks into the room, she sees his ass laid out on the floor. So when she gets in, she starts to call his name. He's non-responsive. So anyhow, she goes over to the phone, calls in for assistance. Dr. Jones comes in along with Alonzo and some other folks to try to, resuscitate Hunter or whatnot. So anyhow, while Victoria is watching all of this go down, Alonzo is across the way panicking at this moment. Victoria finds the container that is laying on his desk. She was like, what is this? Did you give this to him? She's talking directly to Alonzo. Alonzo's like, look, I ain't got nothing to do with this. My name is Ben and I ain't in it. But anyhow, he's panicking, and you know what I'm saying? So anyhow, she's like, look, if I find out that you had anything to do with this, your ass is going to prison, and I'm going to make sure of it. So anyhow, you already know previously that Hunter, he did a little bit of something, and he put it all around his facial area, and, it went in, and it just so happened to be laced with something else, and, it put him down. You see what I'm saying? And, just for the sake of YouTube, I'm not going into detail, but we know what it is, right? So anyhow, he's panicking right now because he knows potentially what this could mean for him as well. But also he knows that Victoria she doesn't hesitate on what she's saying and what she will do when she says it. So anyhow, going on from there, we head over to see Donald. Now, Donald is coming through the crib with that still that brings all understanding, right? And Donald is going around the house. He's finding all these people all over the place laid out. He goes up to the bedroom where he had a guest up there and finds him asleep as well. And sleep as well. So anyhow, he's going around the house and he was like, shit, what's going on? And he keeps hearing noises. So he's assuming that the person is still in the crib, but obviously they're not. So anyhow, he calls Cal to tell him to come over there, as soon as possible. And while he's getting off the phone, in walks Lillian, right? So when she walks in, he immediately turns to her and he was like, look, what's going on? Why did you try to kill me? And she was like, look, no, I didn't have anything to do with that. He was like, yes, you did. She was like, no, I did not. Does it look like I would be able to take all of these men down? I'm not that girl. And to be honest, he hit me as well. He was like, who are you talking about? She was like, the guy. I think she said what did she say? I think she said it was the officer. And it was like the officer, she was like, yeah, he was the one that had on the camouflage clothes. And then she said, yeah, he hit me as well. So anyhow, he put the situation down. And then she started to ask all of these questions about what's going on. And then she said, I heard shots coming from upstairs. And he was like, yeah, he got to somebody upstairs and now they sleep as well. And she was like, oh, for real? And she was like, well, who was that? And he was like, oh, that was my little special guest that we were going to get into some situations. And while he's in the midst of telling her all of that, Victoria calls him to tell him to get his ass over to the White House immediately. Lily is like, well, who was that? He ignores her, and then he calls Cal to tell him, never mind coming over here, meet me at the White House because something done gone down, obviously, because Victoria is calling him this late at night. So anyhow, going on from there, we head over to the police department where we see Dale waiting on a friend, right, who was in a car accident. And then we see Allan being brought in handcuffs. So when Allan sees Dale, he was like, oh, shit. So anyhow, Dale is like, why are you in here? He was like, look, I need you to do me a favor. Are they getting ready to let you out or whatnot? And he was like, yeah, I'm good to go. I'm just waiting on a friend. So anyhow, Allan tells him, hey, I need you to head over to my crib. There's a box in the kitchen, and I want you to keep the box safe. So Dale is like, okay, what's in the box? Allan is like, look, don't worry about that. All I need you to do is go to my house, stop asking all of these damn questions, go over there, get the box, take it to your crib, keep the box safe. So Dale is like, look, man, I ain't got time for this shit today. I just literally found out that the pharmacy that I work for was a front for, situations being moved around the city or whatnot. So anyhow, what's his name? Allan is like, are you talking about Richardson Pharmacy? And Dale is like, yeah, but how did you know that? And he was like, well, that's actually why I'm in here right now. I was actually trying to take back some product, and I guess they were casing or watching the place or whatnot, and I ended up right here. They arrested me on the spot. So anyhow, Allan goes on to tell him that he was trying to return, some substances that were stolen by an agent or stolen from an agent. I can't remember. It's been so damn long. But anyhow, Dale is like, oh, like the ones that were actually stolen from me, right? So Allan is like, look, I don't know shit about that. I'm just telling you what I know. But he was like, F all of that. Forget all of that right now. Can you go? That's the question right now on the table. Can you go? Dale is like, okay, cool, but why can't I know what's in the box? Allan is like, man, forget all of that. It's for your protection, for my protection, and it's best that you don't know. That's essentially what he's telling you right now, Dale. And if you really have a problem with it, what you can do, my brother, is get the key and go in and look for yourself. That's what you can do. Stop asking all these damn questions. But anyhow, Allan goes on to tell him where the key is. And while he's finishing that, the officer that arrested Allan comes back out. And when he comes back out, he tells Dale that he's free to go. Well, Dale is like, well, what's going on with my friend? Is she good to go? And he's like, no, she's not good to go. She's staying in jail. And then he was like, well, what about Kareem? Well, Kareem is at the hospital. He was like, well, is he still alive? And he was like, yeah. But until he opens his mouth and tells us what happened, she's staying right here. So anyhow, going on from there, obviously Dale is going to follow through, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Going on from there, though, we head back over to the White House where we see Victoria and Alonzo. They standing there. They're waiting to find out what's going on with Hunter. And she was like, look, I'm blaming you for this. Alonzo is still claiming that he don't know nothing about nothing right now. And I promise you I didn't do this. Whoa. So finally, Dr. Jones comes out to tell her what it is. And, he explains to her what it is. And she was like, well, is it, how's he going to pull out or whatnot? He was like, it's not looking good. So anyhow, Victoria goes on to tell the doctor to do what he needs to do. So while she's finishing that conversation, in walks Cal and Donald. So when they get in there, Victoria tells them both that Alonzo was the one that gave the substance to Hunter. So Donald turns and he was like, I can't believe this. Like, for real, bro? This is what you did? And he's still standing there like he doesn't know anything about nothing. I don't know nothing about it, my brother. I ain't in it. I done told y'all I'm not in it. So anyhow, what's her name? Victoria's like, look, we're going to have to actually let the VP know what's going on. Donald's like, hold on, wait a minute, hell to the no. Like, we cannot let him know right now. He's trying to ruin you right now. And then he turns over to see Alonzo standing in the background, and he tells his ass to move around the corner, and he tells Cal to go and question him a little bit more, get in his ass a little bit and find out what he knows. And then he turns back to Victoria to tell her, look, we need to do what we need to do, keep this as silent as possible so we can maintain power. And she was like, okay, well, what about my son? Like, what about his whereabouts? He was like, well, he got away. So now Victoria's like, are you telling me that a child is able to get away from the people who are supposed to be the best in the world at doing their jobs? He's making y'all look real foolish, right? So anyhow, she goes on to say, okay, well, we're going to even get more messier with this whole situation. And he was like, you can go ahead and stop that right now. I already know about the situation that went down with you and the second lady. And she was like, oh, for real? He was like, yeah, I already know. And she should have already known that through the grapevine, everything has gone through that channel. But anywho, going on from there, next we see Alonzo in this room with the monitors and everything, and Cal comes in to find out the information about what really went down, right? So anyhow, Cal is like, look, man, where did you get it from? Alonzo, conveys to him that he went to a pharmacy. Well, Cal is like, okay, what pharmacy did you go to? Well, Alonzo goes on to tell him that he went to Richardson's. And he's like, you got to be kidding me. And he was like, hold on, what are you talking about? He was like, who did you get it from? And then I think Alonzo goes on to tell him that Kareem was, running some stuff outside the back or whatnot, some product out the back. And he was like, do you know him? He was like, yeah, I know him. But he doesn't go into detail how he knows him to Alonzo. But anyhow, Cal goes on to ask him how long was Hunter out. He was like, well, it wasn't that long. So anyhow, Cal pretty much tells him, like, you may be in luck. If it wasn't that long ago, everything might be cool. So anyhow, just pray about it, move on. Essentially, that's what he's saying right now. Next, we see Eli. Now, Eli comes downstairs. He's looking for his wife, Simone. And, he can't find her anywhere in the house. He was like, where in the hell is my wife right now? So anyhow, he calls the agent. The agent tells him that she went to the White House. He was like, the White House? Like, what in the hell is she doing over at the White House? So while he's talking to the agent, or the agent is leaving rather, he receives a phone call from Veronica, who is calling him to tell him that, hey, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what went down with your wife and I. We got into it. I beat that ass. And he was like, hold on. He was like, hold on, wait a minute. Rewind that real quick. So she was like, yeah, I beat that ass. All right. So anyhow, he was like, hold on, wait a minute. What happened? And she was like, well, let me just go ahead and tell you all of this. All right. I told her everything. Eli's like, what are you saying? Like, everything like what? She was like, I told her everything. And Eli's like, okay, wait a minute, that's asinine. Why in the hell would you tell her everything? And she was like, look, I'm going to just put it all out there, all right? Secondly, Victoria goes on to tell him that Hunter is actually in the infirmary right now due to him overdosing. Of course, Eli's like, what, for real? Like, for real, for real? And she was like, yes, he's down in the infirmary. And he was like, well, is he going to be good? Is he going to pull through? And so anyhow, he was like, well, shit, that means I'm the president. And she was like, well, at least until he gets back up. And it was like, well... And she was like, hold on, don't say nothing on this phone right here. So anyhow, Eli was like, okay, where's my wife? Is she in a safe and secure spot? She was like, well, you know me. You know how I do this. This ain't my first rodeo. And he's like, yeah, it's definitely not. So anyhow, he's like, make sure she doesn't say anything to anybody. So anyhow, going on from there, The next two people we see is Sam and Max. They riding around in the car, and Sam is talking about Bobby pushing up on Priscilla. Now Max is like, okay, man, you just need to let that go. She's trying to make you jealous. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Max is like, look, I've been through this situation before. Me and my wife, at one time we had to take, a state of separation at that moment. And he was like, but y'all divorced though. Y'all divorced, right? So he was like, yeah, I mean, yeah, we're divorced. And he was like, but we're not. And y'all know my saying, I'm with you when you're right. And right now, Max is right. Like, you did have an affair with the first lady. And now Priscilla is trying to get back at you. She's trying to make you jealous. So you just going to have to deal with it, man. And you did the dirt. Now you got to do the time. It is what it is. You can't get pissed off about it at this moment. It is what it is. But anyhow, moving on from there, while they're in the midst of conversating, Eli calls them to come and pick him up to bring him back to the White House. And Sam is like, damn, like, okay. So Max is like, are you good? Like, did you have somewhere else to be? And Sam is like, no, we're good. So he was like, you good to go pick the vice president up? He was like, yeah, we're good. So anyhow, he was like, well, let's head back and go pick him up. So anyhow, Max is talking, but he's noticing that Sam is not going the right direction. And he was like, where in the hell are you going? He was like, well, we're going to get your car. And he was like, no, we need to come together. He was like, yeah, I'm going to take you to your vehicle. So obviously Sam ain't trying to hear shit right now. He got a one-track mind and he's headed towards that goal. I'm going to drop your ass off so you can do what you need to do, but I got some stuff I need to handle as well. And I think I knew where he was going before he got there. So anyhow, going on from there, next we see what's his name, Mike, on his dirt bike trying to start it back up. Well, he just so happens to be on private property. And from the lights dangling in the background, and from the brother with the camouflage outfit on, he looked very familiar. I believe his name is Manny from Ruthless, and he's part of the Rockadushi. He tells him that you're on private property, and I'm gonna go ahead and have to take your ass to the highest because we need to figure out what's going on. Mike tells him, he goes on to tell him that, there are some people that's after me. I'm just trying to get away. And he was like, who's after you? And he tells him that there are some agents that's looking for him. So he was like, all right, get off the dirt bike. Go ahead and roll with me real quick. I'm going to take you to the highest. So going on from there, we head over to the hospital where we see Richard is sitting on a bed checking in on Nancy. Nancy is awake and she's asking all of these questions like, what's going on? Why am I feeling this tension, this pain in my neck right now? And she was like, did you choke me? And he was like, no, babe, no, I didn't do that. She was like, are you sure? Like, I don't remember nothing going on. Like, I don't remember nothing. He was like, you don't remember nothing? She was like, no, I don't remember. And then she was like, can you tell me what really went down? So he goes on to tell her that, Sharon found some pills. He also found some pills in her, in her pocket or whatnot. So he goes on to ask her, like, where did you get them from? And she was like, no, that don't sound right. Like, that don't sound like me. And he was like, yeah, that's what happened. So anyhow, he was like, where did you get them from? So she's like, look, I don't know what you're talking about right now, but I definitely didn't do shit to myself. And then the doctor comes in and he's checking in on her. And he was like, how are you feeling? Whoop, whoop, whoop. She goes on to say, I'm good, but, I'm still feeling this pain and tension around my neck. And he was like, well, can you tell me what happened? No, actually, he doesn't say. He tells her what happened or what he heard had happened. And she says, no, that's not what happened. So he was like, well, go on and tell me what happened then. So she says, well, I really don't know. I really don't remember. And he was like, so you really don't remember? She was like, yeah, but, I don't remember, but I think I remember this man right here. Yeah, he choked me. Yeah, Richard choked me. He was like, no, babe, just calm down. So the doctor's like, what did you say? Now, this is my thing. Now, if you knew that she had some situations going on before she got here, and then you all of a sudden looking at me like I'm the problem, Like, you already knew the context in which she was brought in here. Like, we'll get into that on a later discussion. But I just find it odd. I know you got to take everybody's word, but hold on, we gotta watch sometime where these words are coming from. So anyhow, going on from there, we see Priscilla. Now, Priscilla. Ooh. So Priscilla came in there with a bomb ass dress on, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Everything was right where it was supposed to be. And that chocolate was on. So let me get myself back together and recap this thing. So Priscilla walks in and we see Bobby at a hotel. She walks in with her fine ass. And Bobby is like, you look good. And I'm right there with you, my brother. But anyhow, so they go sit on the couch. They start to drinking. When she drinks up, she was like, you got, no, this too good. You got this from the White House. And he was like, yeah, Max got it. But I ain't stealing it, but Max got it. So anyhow, she was like, yeah, that's good. That's good. So anyhow, he could tell from her, just her responses, the way that she was responding to him, the way that her body language was, that she was tensed. So he was like, look, let me just ease you a little bit. Let me calm you down. And he was like, look, I need you to turn around. And she was like, hold on, turn around. And he was like, yeah, turn that ass around. Let me see you, all right? So when she turns around, he starts to massage her shoulders. And you could tell, it was almost like shit. She was in pain. Going. I was like, is he massaging or stabbing? Like, what? Is this Chucky? Like, what are we doing? Like, it should not be that hard for you to feel some, I don't know. Then he started kissing on her neck and it got worse. And she was like, look, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm sorry. Like, I made a mistake. So he was like, look, man, what are you even feeling me right now? She was like, yeah, I'm definitely feeling you, but I made a mistake coming over here. So he decides to walk her to the door. And when he walks her to the door, in walks Sam. Well, he don't even get in but 2 seconds and he started pop, 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 pop. You see what I'm saying? He started that boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, there's an echo in the room. And Bobby's laid down there on the floor. Priscilla's backed up against the wall. And he was like, yeah, and you, Miss Lady, I ain't going to use the word that he used, but he was like, you, Miss Lady, you need to get home, wash my clothes, get that dinner on the table. You need to. So she's like, what? But she don't say nothing. You see what I'm saying? The still that bring all understanding. I mean, it does wonders. So I guess she gonna get her ass home and do it. So anyhow, y'all, that's it, man. That's episode number 1, Turning Tables, man. I'm excited that this show is back. It started out with a bang, ended with a bang. I don't even know what to say, man. So anyhow, that's it for me. I've held y'all long enough. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this as well. I will talk to you guys later. Well, I will talk to you guys tomorrow because Sisters is back tomorrow. And then I got something dropping from Zatima as well. And then also, what's the other show I got coming? Force, book 4. So I'm going to try to catch y'all up on that as well. I got them all recorded. I just got to edit them and get them out. So I need to do a better job with that. But anyhow, with that being said, man, I'll talk to y'all soon. Until next time, peace.